special Who Corner to Corner podcast. Thank you very much for joining us. So you might have noticed that we're joined tonight by our special guest host, Mr. Johnny Mathers.
Hello.
Who you may not recognise him without his mask on from the show.
Sorry,
but
like that.
If he holds it up,
look at that! Look at that!
see, we've got passenger
Actually,
himself.
that looks better, don't it, mate?
Yeah, put it back on. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Oh.
we discussed this. You said you'd wear it the whole time. Yeah. So thank you very much for joining us tonight, Johnny, to chat with us and other fans about the 13th Doctor and the show.
So, hello, Mark. How are you doing? You all right?
Hi. So that's Paul, because it's weird. I know your voices from the podcast, but I'm never quite sure
yes.
who's who.
Yeah.
Oh,
Nice
yeah.
to meet you.
Faces.
Now you can.
Good to meet you, sir.
Now you've seen him.
Yeah. You're still here, so that's a good thing. Yeah.
That's a good sign.
Now you can you can put a face to the
You
voice.
guys are so funny.
So
Make
next
me
time,
laugh every time.
next time you listen, you'll now be able to picture us as well as our dulcet tones. So,
Ooh, that was good.
if you want.
Isn't it? He's good at that.
And, Jeff, I already hear your tweets in your voice.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I guess I must have figured out that much.
Is that good or bad?
It adds to the gravitas.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
I think
very
it helps
good.
when you're getting angry about Lego sets.
Jeff has
Some
gravitas.
props,
I just want to order the Lego Avatar. I can't.
I know you
What's
do.
going on?
I know, mate. I've seen
Unbelievable.
you. I've seen you going on about it.
Yeah.
I'm
feel
feeling
your
your
pain.
pain, brother. I really am.
They keep saying to me, you can order it on the 1st of October. No, that's when I should be able to get it, on the 1st of October. I want to order it now. I've ordered
I want
the
it
tray.
now. I want it
Yeah,
now.
I want it now. I've waited
I won't tell him
13
that I know
years
someone who works for Lego.
merchandise. Oh, man, really?
Yeah,
Sort me out.
yeah. I'm
So
getting a
thanks for
deal.
inviting me. Thanks for inviting
Well,
me, guys. I'm really
Thank you for
quite
responding.
honoured to be here.
Yeah,
Oh, that's very
see,
kind.
see that now. This is how professional we are. That our audience member has brought us on track. So thanks for that,
Yeah.
Mark.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
thanks,
Well done.
Mark. Well done, mate.
So, okay, let's get down to why we're here. So, Mark, we wanted to do a podcast to talk about Jodie Whittaker's 13th Doctor because, as you know from listening to Who Corner to Corner, Paul and I love Jodie, we love her era, and we're very lucky tonight to have Johnny with us, who was in Flux and has hung out with Jodie and Mandip and the cast and appeared in the show and saved the universe, really, in a way, didn't you, Johnny?
I did
did.
indeed. You're welcome, by the way. You're welcome.
So
Or
we
without
wanted
saying a
to,
single word, which I think
yeah,
is really
but-
impressive. That's
but,
skills right there, mate.
putting the charisma out there and the energy and the menace in the body. So we wanted to talk a bit specifically about Jodie and her Doctor and why people love her. So Mark, talk to us a bit about your love for the 13th Doctor and what is it about her that you connect with and why you love her so much.
Sure. Well, I mean, there's lots of different things I could say. I've wanted there to be a female Doctor for ages. I've really thought it would be a great direction to take the character in, but I probably didn't anticipate quite how well it was going to work. I think Jodie is she's not the person who I probably would have cast in the role because she's quite different, in her real life persona from some of the previous incarnations of the Doctor. But what she brings when she's in character, it's just got elements of all my favourite Doctors from the past. There's the kind of the parent, there's the sort of supportive teacher sort of character, kind of being maternal towards the companions, and particularly when she meets children, I think, on her adventures, I think she's amazing with them. But she's also got a real childlike quality herself, and that takes me back to that thing that the fourth Doctor says about what's the point in being grown up if you can't be childish sometimes. I'm probably paraphrasing it badly, but that seems to be summing up to me Jodie's enthusiasm and positivity. And I think something else that she brings to it, because, I mean, she's obviously a very attractive woman, and they could have made her a very sexualised kind of Doctor for the dads if they wanted to, a kind of a Wonder Woman sort of figure. They didn't go down that path at all. They made her gawky and geeky and awkward and, things that I think, well, certainly I and probably quite a few other Doctor Who fans can relate to.
Yeah.
That slight alien quality that she has.
Yeah.
I mean, people talk about the time when Graham goes to her for comfort in, is it Can You Hear Me?
Yeah.
And she doesn't quite know what to say, but she never lacks empathy there. It's just that she hasn't got easy answers, and I mean, how would she have? She's got all these different regenerations. She's had many different lives, so it's hard for us to understand human mortality. I think she's been a real breath of fresh air and exactly what I've needed from the show these last few years. With all the dark stuff going on in the world, Doctor Who's just an escape, isn't it? And it's been great fun this era.
Do you know, Mark, that what you've just said there is very, very similar to the way I feel about it. You know, she was a breath of fresh air, and you know, her Doctor, you know, the childlike and geeky aspect and the hope. You know, there's a lot of kind of hope and optimism in her, and I also felt that she did embody and still does a lot of the traits of former Doctors. You know, the kind of, you know, helping people, and there's a slightly tougher edge there, and you know, the hope and positivity, and you know, I felt kind of she took all of the best elements and put them into one, and I think, you know, I loved, you know, Series 8, 9, 10, but she came along and just kind of, you know, revitalised it all for me, and I think, you know, wasn't quite sure how it would all go, but it just worked so much better than I ever anticipated. Really, it was brilliant. Yeah.
So it's good that we're on the same page, because, you know, sometimes I'm not sure exactly how old you are, but you look like my generation. Put it that way.
Oh, Jeff is ancient.
I'm in my early 20s, actually.
I don't think so.
But, you know, sometimes the expectation is that we're going to be the not my Doctors. We're going to be the ones who are against this, and it's the young people that like Jodie's Doctor. And I don't think that's the case at all. Actually, she's you know, revived my interest in the show. And I suppose one thing I didn't mention in my first little bit there was the connection that we have, because we're both in Yorkshire. I'm not Yorkshire born and bred, but I've been here for the last 30 years of my life, so I think I'm kind of honorary Yorkshire. And I actually work in Sheffield. So, you know, the locations from this series, I've always thought, watching Doctor Who, wouldn't it be wonderful to work near St Paul's Cathedral and, you know, imagine the Cybermen coming down the steps, or, you know, these places in Cardiff that you see. But now that's what it's like in Sheffield. I see Park Hill Flats, and I think that's where Yaz's family live.
Do you pop by and have tea?
The super tram. Exactly, I know. I've invited myself round.
And there's lots
They're
of
not returning my calls. yeah, maybe not so much the spiders.
Yeah.
But it's just brought a bit of magic into Sheffield.
And they've been a lot more, you know, they've opened up the country a bit more, you know, it hasn't just been stuck in London or kind of, you know, fictionalised, you know, country villages, you know, like Moffat's era had a bit of. And so it's been nice to see other places, like you're saying. I think we know a couple of people, don't we, Paul, like Mrs. McCrimmon, who's from Sheffield and has loved the fact that, you know, their town, their home has been so prominently featured in the show. So it's been really nice to see that. So,
and of course they did the. Oh, sorry, I keep.
No, go ahead.
Apologies, Jeff. I was just going to say they did the launch event here as well before Series 11. So I've got something to show you.
Okay.
I was fortunate enough to be at the red carpet event, and Jodie signed an art card from Doctor Who magazine.
Awesome.
That was her outside Primark. Very down to earth. You know?
Yeah.
But again, it's just like now every time I go down the moor, down the shops, it reminds me of that day, and it's such a lovely thing. And I'm sure the people of Gloucester feel it as well. You know, they probably anticipate Jadoon coming around every corner.
Yeah. That's brilliant. I was going to ask if you'd met her, so yeah, that's lovely that you got to. So, how are you feeling about the centenary, the final episode?
Mixed feelings. I mean, it seems weird to talk about the end of an era when obviously there's other things going on today of the same nature.
Yes.
But hugely sorry to see her go. It seems like it's flown by. I don't feel like we've had as many episodes as I would have liked, although all power to the crew for managing to get anything out in a pandemic. You know, it's been just what we needed, and it's amazing they managed to do anything at all. I just wish there'd been more of it. So I'm really sorry to see her go, because there's always so much packed into those episodes, and I know it's just going to fly by, the centenary special. But, you know, it's the nature of Doctor Who, isn't it? I was sad to see Tom Baker go. He was my first Doctor, and, you know, we've got used to it over the years. It renews itself, and I'm sure Ncuti will be brilliant. Everyone who's seen him, I've not seen his previous programmes, but everyone's seen him say he's an amazing
He's amazing.
actor.
He's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
I've watched a lot of stuff he's been in. I think he's perfect for this. It's the next logical step, in my opinion, anyway. You know, and looking at like how the Doctors have evolved and the different lives they've had and everything else. It's just like, where was it going to go next? And this makes total sense. And I think it's going to bring an even bigger audience now. because I think people, Jodie attracted a different type of audience. This will attract a different type of audience again.
Do you know, on the day that Shootie's casting was announced, I was down in Brighton with my family, and we went to a little ice cream place. This is absolutely true, this story. And there was a load of teenage and early 20-year-old girls, and they're doing the ice creams and whatnot. And one of them said, "Oh, look at this, he's the next Doctor." And they were going, "Oh my God, he's brilliant in sex education. I'm definitely going to start watching it." And I thought, I've literally just seen and heard it, in my own eyes and ears, and like you say, Johnny, that's a whole new audience there, who are going to come into the show the way people were brought in by Jodie and, by Matt and, so yeah, I think it's an exciting time ahead. And like you, Mark, and I've said this on the podcast before, I'm sad for this era to end, and I wish it wasn't, and I wish there was more, but hopefully in years to come we'll have Big Finish and we'll have more books, and maybe
I hope
maybe
so.
a 70th 70th anniversary reappearance, who knows, but yeah, it's been wonderful.
Did you listen to that podcast on BBC Sounds? What was it called?
Redacted. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, really good.
Yeah.
Did you listen to that, Johnny?
No, it's on the list.
yeah.
To be fair, and it's a big list, guys.
Yeah, the
you know
ever-growing
it's
list.
huge.
Yeah. Yes, it was really good, wasn't it, Mark?
It was, and I thought, Jodie seemed to really fit into that audio format well. She's, as you'd expect her to. So let's hope there is some Big Finish.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, brilliant. Okay, Mark, thank you very much for joining us. I hope you'll stay on the line and
Sure.
listen in on what everyone else is saying. So,
thank you,
Johnny. I'm going to come to you for a minute while Paul is sorting things out with our people who are waiting. So, Johnny, as our listeners and our audience here know, you were passenger in the Flux series. So, tell us what it is that you love about Jodie's Doctor, first of all.
So I think for me was the fact that Jodie's take on the Doctor has got elements of what we've just spoken about. So Jodie's very grounded. She's a very real person. She's not overly sort of like celebrity type of person. She's she talks to people and she makes time for people and she's very caring. And I think she brings that through in the role. But it's not like that hasn't been there before. But it's just a different type. And it engages people more. I mean, obviously being the first female Doctor was a massive thing. And that automatically brought a different type of audience in. And it divided the audience, and we all know that. And, if you go onto Twitter, there's plenty of, people on there throwing their opinion around, and that's fine. But I think if you watch what, Jodie's achieved in the short space of time she's had, really, she's done an amazing amount of stuff. And the episodes were more engaging, I think, because there was a lot more real historical things in there. A lot, historical stuff that people might not have known everything about, and it's a bit more of an education, but in an entertaining way.
Yeah.
And I just think that as a Doctor, she was just that right balance of, she was quirky, she could be serious, she comes across really tough, she's got a lot of empathy, and the whole thing about what you were saying about the way she dresses, they could have really sexualized her, but they didn't, and she was a big part of that process. I know that when she said before in interviews, when her and Ray were going through a costume design, she wanted something that was more like early part of the century kind of women in trousers and the braces and stuff, and it was all about being feminine but being strong, and that was why she wanted her costume to look like that. So I think she's just done something totally new, and it got me back interested in it again. I started watching it, not religiously, but I was more interested in watching Jodie than I had Peter Capaldi. And like I said before, Tom Baker was my Doctor, and I did watch the Christopher Eccleston stuff, and then I kind of went off David Tennant. I don't know why. I'm halfway through that era now in my watch list. It just keeps going. And it's great, and the stories in it are brilliant, but just Jodie's just delivers it just a different way, and I just think it was better. So
yeah, she's wonderful. And for me, she's the coolest looking Doctor. I just loved everything about her.
I don't know. I've still got a thing for...
No, mate, you got Pat Troughton there with his baggy trousers and his frock coat. I mean, Pat rocks.
Yeah, they're cool, but they're Jodie's coat and that T-shirt and boots.
Yeah, I don't know. There's still something about that massive scarf of Tom Baker's and that floppy hat, mate. That's
eternal.
Yeah, that's
that is cool. Jodie had a really cool rainbow.
But she did have a
scarf,
cool look, and she had a look that was like acceptable for everyone.
Yeah.
There was nothing about a look that put anybody off. It was it was just enough for it to look like an alien without it being too alien, if that makes sense, And I quite like the way that they introduced her clothes as well. She went to a charity shop and just rips through everything.
That was quite good fun. I'm gonna bring in Dominique now and ask a question as to Dominique. Do you agree, or do you think that Jodie is the coolest Doctor? If you can hear me,
say yes, Dom.
I mean, she's got a rainbow on her chest, so obviously my answer is gonna be yes. Yeah, I mean, she's got all the points for that, so yeah. 100%.
Good. That's a good answer. I'm happy with that. So, Dom, tell us why you love the 13th Doctor and Jodie. So I know that you've travelled a bit to meet Jodie, haven't you? So we need to hear about this.
Yeah. So, well, you can probably hear it from my accent. I'm not from the UK at all. I'm from Montreal, so I decided to go to London Comic Con to meet Jodie and Mandip in last winter. So I did that. And yeah, I mean, the reason why I love 13 and Jodie is just, like, I started watching Doctor Who already kind of hoping that one day the Doctor would be played by a woman. So when that happened, I just, I was already on board, like, 100%, and she kind of became my Doctor before she was even on screen because of that, just because of what it meant, basically. So, yeah.
Yeah, she when they were going to announce the 13th Doctor, there'd all be rumours, it could be a woman, and there was various names being thrown around as always, and when they had that little reveal video, I think, did it go out during Wimbledon or something? I can't remember.
Yeah,
something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a sporting event, big, on a Sunday or something, wasn't it? And I thought, that is awesome, and it was just, so exciting that they did it, and there was something special about it, and of course it could have gone wrong when it all started, but it didn't, and like you said, Dom, it was just instant, really, thinking she was brilliant and liking her rendition of the Doctor. So it was back in February then that you came over, so it was the same con I was at, wasn't it, the London Film and Comic Con one?
And me.
Yeah.
I was there, just saying.
Yeah, so, no, I kind of couldn't see everyone I wanted to see because I was just overwhelmed.
I was cheap as well. I was only £10 for an autograph. I mean, it wasn't that expensive. You know what I mean?
Missed
Nothing
opportunity
is cheap
there.
for me in the UK. I just want to say.
So, Johnny, are you doing autographs through the post, or if anyone wants to sort one out,
I just add it to the list. I think I get about 10 or 12 a week.
Do you really?
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, still.
Paul and I get none, so
I'll request one. Don't worry.
Please. So, Dom, when you met, tell us about meeting Jodie, and then after, tell us about meeting Mandip, and how was it for you?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I guess I guess the energy and everything that was going on that day, I kind of forgot everything. Kind of forgot the details of everything, but I mean, Jodie was just, like, I've done a lot of Comic Cons, like, mostly here in Montreal and some in Toronto and that kind of stuff, and, like, what really took me by surprise is that even though she was, like, really busy, like, like so many people that got, like, diamond passes and that kind of stuff, she really took the time to make every single interaction special for that person, and to me, it makes it wow, I'm having a hard time speaking right now, but it just makes everything like exciting and so much worth it because of it. So much more worth it, I guess. Yeah. But so that's really what kind of stayed with me since meeting Jodie. And then Mandip was just, like, so sweet, and she's just the greatest, honestly. So it was amazing.
You're right. You only get that brief moment with them, don't you? But they made it really special. Yeah. And if anyone else who's here tonight has met Jodie at one of the cons, let us know. So we hopefully can have a chance to chat back with you about that a bit later. Now, am I right in thinking, Don? Did you come over to see Mandip on stage recently, or were you going to do that?
I I did. I did. Because, like, actually at first I wasn't going to go to Comic-Con at all. Like, that wasn't part of the plan. I was like, no, COVID, bad idea. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
But I've got, like, my dad's cousins have family in the UK, so we were all planning to go this summer.
Right.
Just seeing family, visiting and stuff. And then when it was announced that Mandip was doing the play, like, I just texted my friends and I was like, hey guys, we should go, and I'm there. So we did that. But yeah, so yeah, I saw the play in like late July. And I mean, if you guys haven't seen it with Mandip, even though she's not on anymore, you definitely need to see it, because that play is just insane. It's so good, and like the twists in it, it's really well written. So yeah.
I saw a little video on Twitter the other day. Someone had obviously recorded the show, and they'd cut down all of Mandip's swearing into the video. So I never
should
heard,
turn the air blue a little bit there.
Yeah, I've never heard Yaz talk like that.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
I'm not making any comment about what I've heard.
Well, actually, yeah. You've heard Mandip talk like that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So, Dom, are you going to meet Jodie when she's doing a con in America a bit later in the year? When is that? October, November time?
No, I'm not going to the con in Ohio in December, just because I need to kind of restrain myself a bit. Like, I need to calm down. Like, I can stay home for a little longer.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? I wanted to go to the one she did recently, but it just wasn't. I was working and it just wasn't practical. So yeah, you have to be a little bit careful, don't you? Yeah.
I've got
Johnny,
a violin here somewhere.
Yeah.
It's under my desk. Hang on.
You got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, thanks.
Well, Paul, you could have come to the London Con when Jodie was out, couldn't you? But you said you got to do something with your family, and then they all left you at home and went out.
Yeah, they did
without
it.
you. So I phoned
One of
Paul.
life's little ironies, that. Yeah.
You could have come and seen me and ignored me like everyone else.
I could have done that. I would have made a point of it as well. I'd have gone.
It was more funny that. So I'm guessing, Dom, you were at the thing in the evening where she was talking to the audience with Mandy.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, so I was stood outside having a cigarette while everyone walked out, and no one spotted me. I was stood right by the door, and just people were walking past me. I was like, this is hilarious. And then the next day they were coming to get autographs, and I was like, I saw you last night. Like, well, yeah,
where were you then?
it's £10 though now. If you'd have come last night, I would have given it for free, but there you go.
See, the thing is, Johnny, you know, you're quite tall, aren't you? Very
Just a
tall,
bit,
you know.
yeah.
So, but I suppose people haven't seen your face often because of the mask. So
I think I just took it the fact they thought I was a lamppost, because, you know.
So, Dom, tell me, what's your most favourite thing about Jodie's Doctor?
I mean, God, that's such a difficult question for me.
Yeah,
because
I'm quite good at those. Yeah.
Everybody have a think about that, because when we come to you, we'll ask the same question.
So start writing some notes.
So
down
we
now,
put
people.
Dominique on the spot. Everyone else gets a moment to think about it.
Favorite? Oh my God. I mean, to me, my favorite thing about, I mean, I guess it works both for Jodie and her doctor. It's just the light that she brings in our lives as viewers, I guess, and the inspiration that gives to people as well. Like, I mean, for me personally, like, I've said that before online. I wrote her a really long letter about all this, about how she inspired me to be kind of where I am right now in my life. And I mean, I'm getting my PhD right now in communication because Jodie became the doctor.
Brilliant.
So to me, it's like it's really like everything about this doctor is really significant. So yeah, that's why it's so hard for me to kind of put it into words, because it's a lot. Yeah.
That's brilliant. Well, it's so great hearing how she's inspired people, and you know, we often see things like that on Twitter and stuff. So that's great. So Dom, thanks for joining us here. I'm going to go over to Johnny again, and then we'll go on to someone else for a bit. So Johnny, tell us all about a story from the filming days that we haven't heard before.
Oh, there's just so many. So I think my sort of one thing or one time I spent with Jodie, where it was practically just me and Jodie, was during filming one day, and we were just sat to the side waiting for whatever shot they were setting up, which was taking forever. And it was during the the siege in America when everyone started going up the hill and going for the capital, and she was absolutely fascinated with it, and she just kept looking at her phone. I was like, "What you reading?" And she was telling me all about it, and she's really passionate about things like politics and things in the world and stuff that affects, like, even down to small communities. She's just got such a big heart for people and how people's lives are affected. And we had this really long chat about, politics and democracy and different countries, and it seemed to go on forever. It was probably like about 20 minutes, but it was just like a really nice moment to spend with her and chat to her, just like one-on-one, because you kind of put sometimes people on a pedestal, and I think for me, like I've said before, when I first met Jodie, you've never seen anyone enter a room with so much energy. She's like a firecracker. I mean, she just comes bouncing in, and you're just like, whoa, she's here. It's a big thing when she walks on set. Like, everyone gets really excited to see her. So to actually have like quite a normal conversation about day-to-day things and things that were happening in the world is quite an interesting point for me, because I'd never spoke to her like that before. And she used to tell us stories about different films and projects she'd been involved in, but that was like really a key moment for me, and just how she really has a lot of strong feelings about things that happen in the world, and she wished she could do more to sort of, change stuff. So I think she's one of those people in the future that will, use what she does for good, rather than, just letting it go away. She seems to be wanting to be really involved in different stuff. I know she does charity work, and she's really generous. I mean, we had this little bit of a joke one day, because she was constantly doing requests for fans. So when they were asking for like a birthday video or a message for their nan or whatever like that, she was recording in between takes, like, hang on a minute, I've just got to do this, happy birthday Nelly, blah 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 blah. And like, and you'd be like, how many have you done to them today? And it's like, God knows how many she's done. And someone said, oh, do you not like charge for them, like Cameo and all that other stuff? And she's like, why would you pay for them? Like, why would anyone want to pay me to send a message? I was like, people make a massive living off that. And she's like, nah, not for me. I won't do that. They can have it. I was like, okay.
Yeah, that's lovely.
Yeah, so no, she's ace.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, thank you, Johnny. That was great. We'll come back to you shortly. So, Annie, let's come to you for a bit, because you got in early. Technology worked for you. So, Dom, thank you very much. So, Annie, we know you're quite active on our Who Corners Corner Twitter, and you listen in, and we know that you're a big Thasmin fan. Any other Thasmin fans in the house? Put your hands up. So
quite a few,
yeah, quite a few. So tell us a little bit about Thasmin and your love for Jodie Doctor and Yaz, and you've written a bit about it all as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, trying to be succinct with this is quite difficult, but I think I might have managed it. For me, I think Jodie's more recent and obvious depiction of a doctor that is essentially read as queer or sapphic, who has feelings for her female companion, is genuinely affecting. In a 60-year running programme on mainstream TV that's not been aimed at adults, depicting a simple yet quite complex love story without all the negativity, without all the homophobia, for me, I think really is a real turning point in terms of queer representation, especially on BBC One. And personally, I've just been filled with this real sense of joy and grief in equal measure for what we have and for what I would have loved to have when I was younger. It's not something that's on. It's not Killing Eve. Killing Eve is for adults. It's not Gentleman Jack. That's for adults. It's not The L Word. That's for adults. This is a show that has it's an international franchise, and it will affect and impact a wider range of people, and young people will see it and be affected by it. And because of this, she's my doctor, and I think will always be because of that.
Yeah, it's been handled brilliantly, really, in the show, isn't it? And quite sensitively, I think, and not kind of majorly, overtly. Paul and I want to go back and watch everything from the first episode and. Pop, because we want to and enjoy that, but look for.
We don't really need much of an excuse to do that, do we?
No.
But we'll take any excuse that we can.
Rewatch 72, but to look kind of specifically for Thasmin stuff and all the little, because I think there has been little hints and clues and stuff from quite early on, and then they've become kind of more developed and more prominent as it's gone on.
And I think one of the other really interesting things is when you watch the morning show presenters and you read the reviews. So the morning show presenters before Legend of the Sea Devils were practically bouncing on their chairs asking Mandip Gill all about it. 10 years ago you would never have got that. And then after it you've got Daily Telegraph journalists writing about how beautiful these scenes were and how much their kids loved it. 10 years ago, the headline would have been, scandal and Doctor Who, lesbians on the TARDIS.
Yeah.
But it's a complete 180. The discourse has completely changed. It's just there without any negativity. And I think that it was really overwhelming, just sort of walking around in a world where suddenly the Doctor was queer. In a sense, read as.
And I don't know how you think, but to me, it really feels like a genuine relationship.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like something that's been contrived. It feels like something that's been allowed to develop almost organically and naturalistically, right?
If you're going to fall in love with your best friend, it's not going to happen overnight in one episode.
Exactly.
It's going to happen over a long period of time. That makes it seem more authentic.
Yes, it does. Yeah, it's
that's
development
it, and it's not like it's been signposted.
Exactly.
I mean, I loved the 9th and the 10th Doctor and Rose. I love that. It's great, but it always felt like it was contrived from the very start to be that way. That they were going to fall in love somehow, and it was going to be blocked and stopped, and that would be the big tragedy of it. Whereas this feels, much more relatable. I always say about this era that the one thing that I like about it is that it feels grounded and relatable. The characters feel like characters rather than archetypes. And I just love the way that this kind of relationship has kind of exemplified that. It's a good example of how that naturalism within this era has kind of played through. And that's my piece. That's all I'm going to say on it right there. That's it.
So, Anna, you've met Jodie how many times?
Because I'm spent now.
Do you mean it on the same day or how many cons I've been to?
Well, multiple times in one day. Even Jono's looking worried by this one now.
Yeah, I mean, I saw her quite a few times in one day, but
Yeah.
I want to know the answer to. I want to know the answer to both.
I've been to 2 cons this year, and I met her twice at both.
Okay, so for a picture and an autograph.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've seen both your pictures, and they're really good. So like when we talked to Dom about it, tell us how was it for you? I know the recent one was quite special.
Yeah, it's you get an idea in your head about what you want to say, and then you get there, and it's just you kind of like freeze up because she's so nice.
Do you find your mouth stops working? And
my brain and my mouth stopped working. But she's just so genuine. If you can imagine the nicest person you know, and then times it by about 1,000. This time I actually went with something to give her the article I wrote for the queerness about queer representation, and I gave her that. And when I went to get my picture taken, I managed to engage my brain long enough afterwards to turn around and say thank you for Thasmin, and she was like, "That's all right." And of course afterwards then my brain stopped working again and I had to sit down.
Yeah, lie down in a dark room for half an hour and just chill out. Yeah.
But she's just so lovely. It's just it kind of blew me away a little bit. I went up to get other people's autographs, and I just didn't clam up in the same way. And I'm used to standing in front of adolescents and teaching all day.
Which would be prepare you for anything you'd think, wouldn't it, really?
So you mentioned your article there, so I've read that. You sent me the link for it. Paul, you might have read it as well, I think. But why don't you tell everyone who's here now and our listeners when the podcast comes out a little bit about it and where they can find it?
Okay, so I'm the editor-in-chief of a free online magazine called The Queerness. It's at thequeerness.com. And we're a collaboration of British and international writers who contribute on different topics within the queer community, on politics or creative writing, or for the TV, for instance. I've done reviews of Doctor Who and other TV programmes. I like to write about politics. We have some education writers. So go to thequeerness.com. It's a free queer magazine.
Brilliant. So tell us, what are your hopes/fears for the final episode?
I think my hopes and my fears are the same thing, to be honest. I really hope that they kiss, and I'm really worried that they won't. I think in some ways, if they don't, that'll be a huge disappointment, because it might sort of reaffirm worries I had about the BBC and their ability to just go there. But I really hope that it does happen in some way, because if you look at it narratively, if it's a slow burn, as Chris Chibnall confirmed that it probably was, that's ultimately the only place it could go, because we know from Mandip that the story's not over, that the conversation that they had on the beach isn't over yet. There's going to be something that happens at the end. It's not just going to fall off a cliff edge.
Yeah, I'd like to think that, you know, it kind of will go there, and the BBC are not going to shy away from it. I remember when we talked to Ray Holman, about his costume work and stuff, and there was a brief conversation about changing the outfit and, you know, the rainbow and things like that, and the BBC were like, it's working, we don't want you to change it, which is why it never really kind of varied much, because they loved it so much, and I think they've been on board the whole time on everything and the direction it's going. So I'd be really surprised if it didn't go the way that kind of people want it to. So not long till we find out. A couple more weeks, hopefully. So Annie, that's brilliant. Is there anything else you'd like to say? And we're going to go back to Johnny quickly, and then we'll pick someone else from our gallery tonight.
No, just thanks for having me on.
Well, thanks for your support on the podcast. It's brilliant.
All right, it's great.
Thank you
for joining us tonight. So, Johnny, tell us a little bit about your con experience.
Con experience.
The clean versions.
The clean version, right? The clean version. It was probably one of the bizarrest days of my life, because I couldn't work out why I was there. And when you're like me, who I do cosplay, I'm really into all that stuff, comic books and films, and you know.
I'll just put it. Does everyone know what Johnny's cosplay stuff is? Do you want to tell everyone?
So I cosplay Kratos from God of War. So I dress up as an undead Spartan and go running around in woods with a small girl dressed as a boy, taking photographs. That's our thing, and we love it. And we're all quite excited, because in a couple of weeks' time there'll be another one. But yeah. But so going to that con and being a guest was totally bizarre. So like the first night I got there, obviously I turned up because I went to go have my photograph outside, say I'm here, put it on Twitter, and everyone's coming out from Jodie's talk and no one spotted me. That was the first funny thing. And then I've like casually gone to the hotel and gone in, and I went to have something to eat, and there's like two Jawas, Boba Fett and Leatherface all sat at the bar having a drink, and you just
it sounds like a joke.
Yeah, it is. It should be, shouldn't it? And you're just like, what's going on? This is just really weird. And I couldn't quite get myself to have the courage to go and speak to these people, because like, I'm nobody. And then, you know, in the morning we're all on the same bus. I'm sat 2 seats away from the Highlander. It's just completely mental. And then you kind of, you know, we get in. All the drinks and food you can want, which is great for me because I'm always eating. You know, I met Daniel, who was looking after me for the day, and then I get taken to this seat, and I'm sat next to Sophie, which is just weird because like she's ace, and she sat next to me. Yeah. And then on this side is Chloe Arnett, who was Christine Kachansky in Red Dwarf, who was like my biggest crush as a boy, and like she was like, "Oh, we'll shake hands and hug later." I was like, "Please let us do that later. Please.
Don't forget.
Like texting my mate going, guess who I'm sat next to? and it was amazing because I got to meet a load of people that I've spoken to on Twitter in real life, and got to meet all these really fantastic, passionate people who love this series, just love everything about Doctor Who, and they came to speak to me, and they got their autograph, and they had their photograph, and I signed steel books and posters and God knows what else. No body parts, luckily. I think I escaped quite lightly there. And but just genuinely, just how amazing everyone is, how kind everyone is, how engaging everybody is, and people thanking me for being part of it, and I'm like, I didn't really do anything. I took a role that they offered me, and I went and did it, and it was amazing. But it's what's come afterwards that's been bigger for me. Going to the set every day and doing the filming was like fantastic, and it's an experience. If anyone ever gets to do it, go and do it. But the bit afterwards, being part of this, and like I've said before on the last podcast we did, I take this as a massive responsibility now. I'm part of something which is huge, and it means a lot to a lot of people. And I do take that quite seriously. And meeting all them fans there was just amazing. Plus, of course, I got to rip the lot out of Mandip all day, so I kept hiding in the back of her booth. So she didn't know I was there. The security let me in, and I sat behind her for 10 minutes making faces as she's having selfies with people. So that was quite fun. But it was just, I even now I still can't get my head around it. I'm sat in front of a massive picture of me dressed as passenger, saying hello to all these people, having conversations, and just seeing this fan base. And like they said to me the day before, which was when you were there, Jeff, I think they said it was the most people ever dressed up as one character that they've ever seen.
Hundreds of.
There was hundreds
Jodie,
of the 13th Doctor. There was hundreds of them.
Yeah.
And that carried on the Sunday as well. There was loads, And I remember one girl was walking past me, and she looked and saw the passenger sign, and then she looked at me, and then she looked again, and then she looked at me, and I was like, no, it's really me, and I'm quite cheap. It's only a tenner. Come on, have a photo. Come on. And apart from the fact she scared witless when I stood up, but just being able to do stuff like that was just brilliant. And meeting all the other characters from Who. I was sat 2 seats down from Colin Baker. I met Sylvester McCoy, like I said, really quickly because he kind of ran past me. He's very quick, Sylvester McCoy, like really speedy. But it was just really cool. It was amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome. That's one of the one of many nice things about the fandom is the way it brings people together. Like doing this tonight is great, and chatting with you, Johnny, and things. So yeah, it's brilliant. So let's go over to someone else. Paul, I feel like we're on an actual chat show. Let's go over to another caller now, and right. I'm gonna pick Hugh.
You're gonna pick Hugh, right? Okay,
he looks
Hugh.
Excited about.
Hello,
that.
Hugh.
Hi, how are you? Is my mic working?
Yeah, I can hear
it's
you.
Working.
Yeah.
We can hear you loud and clear.
How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you for getting back to us about this and joining in. So I'm going to ask you a different question first of all. So I'd like to know what has been maybe I did ask this earlier, so apologies, but I haven't asked you yet.
Do you want me to write it down, Jeff?
Yeah, you better.
I'll write down what you say, and then if you repeat it, I'll be able to read it back to you. So you said that already, Sunshine. Think of something else.
Yeah,
be original.
There's no script, guys. We just wing it. I know you wouldn't know that from listening to the podcast.
I can confirm that from previous encounters with them. They do just wing it.
So, Hugh, tell us what's been your single most favourite moment from Jodie's Doctor?
There's so many.
That question's coming to you guys, so you better start thinking now.
I would probably say, Flux. What was it? It was Once Upon a Time when she comes out of after seeing Tecteun or Orsoc as she was called before she was revealed. When she comes out and she's all distraught and upset, and I was going to say Mandip, and Yaz is there and is like, it's okay, I can help. And then she goes, it's not okay. And that was a very defining moment for her as the Doctor for me. And it really kind of, it was it was a great representation of, you know, where she was at the time as a character, and how her grief surrounding her, you know, her lost memories is affecting her, and I thought that was it shocked me when I saw it it would have been November, and every time I watch it I'm like, there it is.
Yeah, but Paul, we talked about that moment, didn't we? It was really quite a powerful moment. You know, she had so much ripped away from her at that point, and that kind of, you know, anger and you know, fury was quite justified. I think, you know, she came really close to finding out stuff and lost it, and you know, it's something that Yaz couldn't understand, although she wanted to. I think so. Yeah, okay, that's a really cool moment to go for. I was kind of wondering whether people would go for kind of fun and light-hearted stuff, but you know, that's quite a powerful moment, and I think it shows.
She was very loud that day.
Really?
Yeah, that was a very loud scene.
I mean, it's a very cavernous set, isn't it?
Oh, it's a great set, yeah.
It's a great set, and it was huge, but it was just, everyone kind of talks in a normal voice because everyone's mic'd up, so no one really has to project themselves on set. But that day she projected because it was loud, you know. And I think even Sam heard it, and he couldn't hear anything in that mask. So.
Yeah, if you've listened to the podcast with Sam, yeah, he couldn't see, he couldn't hear because of the swarm mask.
The Cuban heels.
Yeah, the Cuban heels, yeah.
But he walked so well in them heels, man.
He looked cool, didn't he?
He did look good.
Yeah. So, Hugh, I know you're from the land down under.
Yes.
And tell us a bit about what's Doctor Who like down there. You know, is it how did you discover it? Is it kind of, you know, as prominent as it is over here?
It's definitely not as prominent, but it definitely has a fan base. I've got a few good friends who, or as we would say, mates. I have a good few. Or actually, hold on, people from England say that too, like me and my mates, Seganak and Ola. It's not as prominent, but it's definitely got a presence down here. Like, you know, it involves, like, if you want to watch it first thing, it involves a lot of early mornings. So like for Flux, I got up at would have been 5 a.m. every Monday morning.
That's dedication for you, that is. 5 a.m. just to watch Doctor Who.
There's a chap on Twitter called Cooper Hillier that you might know. So he's from Australia as well. So
he's great.
So do you remember Aidan's nodding because he knows him as well, and he was saying the same thing. He was getting up really early or staying up really late. I can't remember which, but he had to watch it all when it went out. So yeah.
Yeah, it was the highlight of my week every Monday, waking up to watch Flux, and it was great. It was brilliant, and I'm looking forward to doing it again one more time.
Yeah, one more time. Yeah. So, when did you get into Doctor Who? Because you know, over here it's kind of just part of the culture, but obviously it's a little bit different from where you are.
I was 8 years old. It was the 50th anniversary, which is a interesting place to start because obviously it's got 50 years of history writing on its back. But
what's going on?
I think I remember it was the scene with the General and another Time Lord in the after the Master, not the Master, sorry, the War Doctor takes the moment. That was the first like scene that got me into it. And yeah, I watched the whole episode, and my mum said, "Hugh, watch this." I used to watch Doctor Who as a child, and me being a moody 8-year-old was all, "No, I've seen Doctor Who, I don't like it." And
my son's doing the same to me at the moment. So he's lucky he's still got somewhere to live, to be honest.
Yeah. And then I watched it, I loved it, and I said to my mum, "Is there any more?" Which was kind of hilarious, given it was the 50th anniversary.
That's that list.
And then, you know, Matt Smith regenerated into Capaldi, and then Capaldi into Jodie, and it's been great. Absolutely, I've loved it.
Brilliant. So is Jodie? I presume she's your favourite Doctor. So
yeah, absolutely, she is. She's number
what is
one
it about her that makes her your favourite?
It took a while. So when I watched Capaldi, he was my number one, and you know, he was my first Doctor, like, you know, the one that I first really, you know, the one that I loved, the first one, and then of course, like pretty much everyone, I was like, there's no way that they'll, you know, replace anyway, because, you know, whenever a new Doctor comes along, it's kind of a cliche at this point that it's sort of like, you know, oh no, they'll never be, you know, You know what I'm trying to say? Like, they'll never be
as good as what came before.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I got proven wrong very quickly. And then, it wasn't until series 12 that, because it usually took me about a series to really love Capaldi, and then it was Spyfall Part 1 was when I don't know, it might have been it was Resolution, that moment when the scrap Dalek came rolling out, and that was the moment where I went, no, she's my Doctor. She's my favorite. And then series 12 with the Timeless Child arc and Revolution, and then Flux just affirmed that place of her at my number one.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah, that's quite interesting. It took you a little while to really fall in love with her. In fact, so Paul, make a note of this question for our next guest.
I want it, sunshine.
When did you fall in love with Jodie's Doctor?
And I'm autistic, so that probably had something to do with it, because get very don't want to say stuck in my ways, but I guess that's probably the best phrase. And also that's one thing that helped me sort of relate to her the most was, because she's awkward, she doesn't exactly always know what to say, and it's something that that's one of the main reasons why she is my Doctor, is because I can see myself in her character.
Yeah, I've seen people, say similar online as well, and I can understand where they're coming from with that, and why she connects and relates so much to them, and when you see people criticising things like the end of Can You Hear Me and stuff like that, I think, well, you know what, maybe you don't really understand how her character is in that moment, and there wasn't anything mean intended by that. I think.
Yeah, exactly.
It just seems quite a genuine, reaction for some people. So we reviewed that episode again recently, didn't we, Paul? And,
we did indeed,
and talked about that. So, Hugh, I've got one more question before we go to someone else. And actually, Paul, I'm doing pretty much all the talking.
Yeah, I noticed that, mate. I'm
very
sitting
unlike,
back here.
Yeah, very unlike the.
You're crack on, sunshine. What about me?
Normally. So, Hugh, obviously, a few people here have met Jodie, but I guess there's not much in the way of conventions down your way. I know Peter and Jenna came down a couple of years ago, didn't they? But
yeah, they came down to Sydney for the world tour. There are two main conventions. There's Oz Comic Con, which is usually around June, and then there's Supernova, which in Melbourne. I mean, it's in Melbourne. It's around June, I'm in Melbourne, and then Supernova's in usually March. She's never come down to Australia, so fingers crossed for next year.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, she seems to be liking the convention, so hopefully she might make her way down there. Johnny, you need to get on it, see if you can get a trip to Australia.
I was going to say,
I've been trying, mate. I've been trying. All the good ones get taken up. I know Chicago. They've got one in October. I haven't been invited to that one yet. So we'll get there.
We'll start a campaign for it. Yeah.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Hugh, what time is it for you now? Is it in the morning?
Yeah, it's 6:31 a.m.
Oh, okay. Oh well. Well, thank you for joining us. That's epic.
Oh, my pleasure. I've been looking forward to it.
Brilliant, thank you. Really appreciate that. Johnny, I'd like to go back to you again for a minute. Can you keep doing that face?
Because I'm always nervous about what you're going to ask me next, Jeff. That's why.
He does that. He creeps up on people.
I know, he just creeps on you. Like, Johnny, I'm coming back to you. Oh, God. No, again.
I've got quite an easy one, hopefully. So when Flux went out, did you sit down with family and friends to watch it? Did they knew that you were in it by that point, presumably? No. They didn't?
No.
And did they believe you? That's me.
So
yeah,
it was,
whatever.
Obviously, you're not allowed to talk about it. It's the first rule of Doctor Who. You're not allowed to talk about it. And the second rule of Doctor Who is you're not allowed to talk about it.
It's like Fight Club, yeah.
And the third and the fourth and the fifth rule is you're not allowed to talk about it either. So obviously the wife had to know, because I couldn't just keep disappearing into hotels in Cardiff, because that looked a bit dodge. Sorry, love, I'm just going away for a week. And I think the elder two kind of knew that I was in something, so they were kind of in key. But I didn't really tell many other people, because you weren't allowed to. And then, obviously, the first episode came out, and I knew I wasn't in that, but I'd hinted to a couple of people, you're going to watch Doctor Who this week? Why would I watch Doctor Who? But why wouldn't you watch Doctor Who? It's an amazing TV series.
I've never seen an episode in my life. Why would I suddenly watch it?
Yeah, definitely worth watching. And then, obviously, when the second episode, Wars on Time, has come out, and I put a little thing out, like saying, "Oh, we watched Doctor Who tonight," because I'd already spotted my name in the Radio Times. So I'd taken a picture. I didn't buy the Radio Times. I'm not going to pay for it, but I took a picture of it inside the magazine. And so I put it on Facebook, and it was just like, "I'm going to watch Doctor Who tonight." No, the cast looks interesting. No one got it. Absolutely no one got it. I don't know why. But yeah, we watched it, and it was amazing. First of all, just like to see me. That was the first thing, and then watch everyone's reaction, and especially like the kids was like, "Is that you?" Yes, it is. We can tell from your belly. Thank you very much. Yeah. No. It was just amazing to watch everyone's faces, and then like I started getting messages through, and just like, everyone's reaction was really positive, and I think for me as well, sitting watching it with the family just changed my experience of it, because like, you know, seeing how much fun the kids had watching it, and for me as well, being able to piece the story together, because I didn't have a clue what was going on when I was filming it. I mean, I don't think any of us did, to be fair. There was plenty of days we sat on set going, "Do you know what's going on?" "No, I haven't got a clue." Brilliant. No one knew. And like I said to you, I never knew about Calvin Easter or any of that stuff. So, you know, it was really enjoyable for me to watch it and see where I fit into this complete chaos of a story. It was brilliant. But, yeah, I didn't tell most of the fam. It was quite funny. I think because people had cottoned on I was up to something, but they didn't know what it was. So it's not a bad first job though on television. I don't think so.
Right,
that's all right.
Living the dream. If I expect everyone here tonight would jump at the chance to.
Yeah, we can do that. We can live vicariously through you, Johnny. We can do that.
If you could grow to 7'2", you can do it yourselves. Just you know.
I might just do that. Yeah.
Well,
just
you
some
could
beans.
get a rack.
Don't do it.
You know,
Don't do it. It's not fun.
Thanks, Johnny. I'd like to go over to Matt right now, who's been sitting there patiently waiting.
Very patiently, yes.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Matt. And we'll get to the rest of you guys in a bit as well.
So, Matt, tell me, what was your favourite moment in Flux?
Obviously, when Passenger walked in.
Oh, do you want a list? That's good. The correct answer is all of it, because it's one long episode.
Come on, I'm sitting down with my glass of water here.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, I think the best moment would probably have to be ending of episode 1.
Yes, that was good. Halloween Apocalypse.
Yeah, that was
Halloween Apocalypse.
That was a good ending.
Yeah.
Okay.
What did you think of the cliffhangers across the series?
Oh, that's a shocking, unexpected, but very, very well executed. It's like the one for Village of the Angels just nearly shattered my heart.
Oh, that was a cracker, wasn't it?
Do you mean the single best Doctor Who cliffhanger of all time?
Whoa! He does like dropping that one in.
He does, doesn't he? He loves that one.
If you haven't listened to our podcast, if you haven't listened to our podcast when we reviewed that episode, I was literally so excited.
You were very excited. You were literally jumping up and down, weren't you? You were
I
like
couldn't believe what I'd just seen. Yeah.
Jodie's turned to an angel. Oh my God! It's amazing.
So, Matt, what is it that you love about Jodie's Doctor? What draws you to her?
Well, I think
and
the best way to start would actually be to go all the way back to her start of to the start of her era. Because I've said this to a few people, but I went into her first episode with my love for Who actually being on a bit of a tightrope.
Okay.
I mean, going up to that point, I'd rewatched Moffat's last series, but I just felt like as though I was loving classic Who, but I just felt like as though new Who, I felt like as though I was falling out of love with it, and that had actually terrified me. But then I watched Jodie's first episode, and it's almost like as though that worry, that shroud, lifted right up. And I think the thing I love about her Doctor most is just the fact that I'm suspected neurodiverse. I feel like I've been like that for a while, and I think it's just someone, I can't remember who else. I think it was Hugh who suggested it. He said that her coming across as neurodiverse and autistic just made me relate to her a whole lot more. So it's like her not knowing what to say to Graham. I completely understood that, and it always frustrates me when she said when people say that's not the Doctor. It is.
So, Matt, I've seen on your Twitter profile you've met a few people from the show, haven't you? So, do you want to tell us a little bit about your celeb gallery?
Well, I went to Hooverville on Saturday just gone.
Oh yes.
I achieved a Who meet that I've wanted to have some Well, I can't speak. I achieved meeting someone from Who that I've wanted to meet for years. Fraser Hines.
Who's that?
Oh,
yeah,
well done.
That's your profile picture, isn't it?
That's my profile picture, complete with Evil of the Dalek Steelbook.
Nice. and how was he?
He was amazing. It's like I said to him that I've been waiting to meet him for 12 years because I started going to conventions 12 years ago, and he just simply said, "What conventions do you go to then?"
Yeah, you got the wrong one, so.
So that was.
And
very,
did you have a chance to have a little bit of a chat with him?
Not really. But I mean, I did have a chat with a few others. It wasn't just Fraser I met. I met Andrew Smith, who wrote Full Circle.
Oh yeah.
Stephen Wright, who wrote Paradise Towers. So I had a chat with both of them, and Stephen even praised my continuing to wear a face mask throughout the, because I still feel like as though the pandemic's not over, and I'm going to do what I can to keep myself safe.
Yeah.
Andrew went on. Andrew was very nice. I met Bhavnisha Palmer, aka Sonia Khan.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, we know Bav. Yeah.
And I met.
John, did you meet? Sorry, carry on.
I also met Jonathan Watson, who played a host of Sontarans in Flux.
Brilliant. Excuse me. And Bab's lovely, isn't she?
She very much is.
Yeah, she's very, very positive. Yeah.
But I want to try and do more conventions next year, and I would do anything to go to one that has Jodie.
Yeah, awesome. I suspect most people here, if the opportunity arose, would do that. And I think I said to you, Paul, didn't I? So Aidan was at the convention last weekend. We'll talk about that in a bit. And he met Jodie again. And I think I mentioned this earlier. I thought, I'm working. I can't go to Birmingham. It's quite far for me. I already met Jodie. Then I saw these pictures and I texted Paul and I said, I'm actually quite jealous.
He was. He did do that.
I wish I'd gone.
Yeah.
But there'll be another time. Yeah. So Matt, tell us what are your thoughts about the upcoming last episode? What are you looking forward to? What are you worried about?
I'm worried about my heart breaking because my heart broke at the end of the Sea Devils.
Yeah, I don't think you're alone there.
In my mind, I struggle with showing much in the way of emotions. So for my heart to feel like it was breaking at the end of that one, I immediately said afterwards, "What's my heart going to be like after the centenary?"
Yeah. Yeah, we'll all have to have a chat about it afterwards. Probably a counselling.
We need some kind of therapy after that, I reckon. We'll do another one of these.
Yeah.
So we can either cry, get it out.
But my hope very much is that just very hope is that Jodie goes out on the high and say, I loved her era,
Right, Matt, thank you very much for joining us tonight. I would like to go over to Mackenzie now because she's been waiting very patiently, so hopefully it's going to work for us this time.
Yeah.
Oh, yay!
Yes!
Hooray!
Hello, Mackenzie. Welcome, and
Hello.
thank you for sticking through it.
Huzzah.
Oh, well done.
Well,
We
while
will
you
get
guys
the
were
hang of this
chatting
one of
with
these
Matt,
days.
I brought up another program like test, and he couldn't hear me. I'm like test, and then I finally figured out I have 4 different settings for my mic, and I finally figured out which one it was.
Brilliant.
But
So
you're here now. Great.
you're here now. Yes, indeed.
So, are you wearing a rainbow striped T-shirt there, Mackenzie?
I am, yes.
Yeah, nice.
So's Mark.
Nice.
Mark's been
Oh,
showing his
Mark
off.
is as well. Yeah,
He
Mark
keeps
was
flicking
flashing
his camera.
something
Oh,
there.
hang on. Everyone. I feel
would've
left out now.
cosplay, but I wasn't sure if I would be over the top or not.
No, you
Well,
should have done
I'll
it.
tell you what. Forget your rainbow T-shirts because
There you go.
Yes.
Look at
Oh, I
that.
love it.
there you go.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
wearing it. It's
cos-
very sweaty in there. I'm not going back in there again.
Yeah,
I bet it
can
stinks in
imagine,
there, doesn't it?
It's not
Really?
great.
Yeah.
It's
I hate to think what the real one actually smells like now being in storage. It must be awful.
Oh my.
So, Mackenzie, tell us about your love for the 13th Doctor.
Well, gosh, mine's kind of complicated. So it started off for me to pull in the very first question about like the moment that I really attached with Jodie's Doctor. Why I say it's complicated is because I've been a fan of Doctor Who since I was very, very young. I don't even remember what age I was when my dad introduced me to Doctor Who. All I know is that Peter Davison was my doctor. And one of the things about me personally is I have ABPD, which stands for Avoidant Personality Disorder, as well as PTSD from some childhood trauma. And for me, the moment that really connected me to Jodie was that moment when she opened the TARDIS and saw the Gallifrey had been destroyed. Now, during the 50th anniversary, obviously we saw that the Doctor saw the Gallifrey hadn't been destroyed. And for me, personally, going through the new Who, where I felt very attached to Eccleston's Doctor for the same reason of being so like the emo Doctor, simply because of the Gallifrey being destroyed, I felt cheated that Moffat had fixed it. So when that happened all over again, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can finally, again, from an emotional perspective, for that empathy perspective for the audience, that's what really brought me to Jodie's Doctor. And then with me being an author and a screenwriter, there was a publisher out in New York that had heard about my series, The Right of Wands, which is a fantasy series, and they asked me to write the Binge Watcher Guide of Doctor Who. So that's what I have. This is the first one, and I'm working on the second one right now, where I'm covering 12 and 13 series.
So, let me get this straight. Did you get paid to watch Doctor Who and write a book?
Sort of, kind of, in a way. I didn't get paid to watch Doctor Who. I did that out of my own love, but but for doing it as for writing, I got paid in that aspect.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah,
That's a good job. That's brilliant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
take that one. Yeah,
that's kind of living the dream a bit there. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So how far through the rewatch are you at the moment?
I've gone through all through Flux, and I'm actually very excited to have Donnie here, because if you had been at like Motor City Comic Con, I would have definitely gone off to your booth without a doubt.
Oh, thanks. That's nice to know. See, someone wants to see me. That's good. If you just get me over there, that'd be great.
I can definitely put your name in there. I will definitely do that.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah.
Do it right now. Yes,
Yeah, quickly.
There are witnesses right here.
Yeah.
Yes,
You've heard it
yes.
first here, people. I'm going.
Oh, that could be like an exclusive, couldn't it? We're going to put that in as an exclusive. I'm writing down stuff for the blurb. That's what I'm doing there. See?
Well, at least it beats doing drawings of me.
Exclusive.
So which con was that, Mackenzie?
Motor City Comic Con, no, there's 2 different ones. There was one in May, and then there's going to be one in October. It's going to be, actually, I believe it's going to be the same week that rumor has it that the next series episode, or the last episode, will actually premiere. So that should be interesting, since I'm waiting to finish my manuscript and have that last episode, because the publisher wanted me to do it beforehand, and I'm like, it doesn't really make any sense to not have that in there, because that's kind of like a critical episode. So, and that also gives me the opportunity to get some, what I do with my series is I go into, it's like the ultimate guide. So I go into the psychological, what's going on with the Doctor and the companions, my opinion of the episodes, what kind of politics might be going on, like the last, I covered the Not My Doctor era with that. And then I also have interviews where I talk to different people from the show or who have some type of influence, whether it be in a podcast, and then I put that interview in there. Not to put you on the spot, Johnny, may I have you in here?
Totally up for it.
Uh-oh.
Let's do that.
Well, Paul and I are his agents, so we'll take 50%.
Paul and
We'll have the chat after.
Paul and Jeff need a bit of a cut off the top, but we can sort that out. Yeah, it's fine.
That would be awesome.
So, so you've kind of done some, critical, study and analysis of stuff. Then, so I just read one of the what were they called? Paul, the Black Archive,
the Black Archives.
Do you know the ones I mean? So I read their Haunting of Villa Diodati one, and I really enjoyed it actually, because it kind of reminded me of like doing my dissertation and analysing stuff, and it was really good to kind of read something like that and that was kind of positive as well, and looking at other films and stuff like that. So what's been your kind of main take on the whole era, and Thasmin in particular as well?
Well, for me, I'm also part of the LGBT community, so when Thasmin actually happened, where Yaz came out to the Doctor, or I should say more was talking to Dan, it was almost verbatim of what she said to Dan that my wife said to me. So it was like really? Kind of like an even moment.
Even more of a connection.
Yeah, even more of a connection is because the two of us were completely in denial. We were completely denying ourselves for who we actually were because of our background.
Tell us a little bit about your writing and your book series, and also would you or have you written any Doctor Who stuff?
Well, that's kind of the weirdest thing about it is I wrote a little bit of fan fiction, just like a little tiny bit of fan fiction. But that actually kind of helped me into getting into The Right of Wands, which is my series. Oh. And it has a Whovian connection to it. So that's this one here.
There you go.
And it is, the connection is that I actually wrote I was working on this book it's a series, but I've been working on it for over 20 years. And one of the problems that I had is I could not figure out who the main character was. He just was in the background. He wouldn't talk to me. One of those kind of like characters that's in the corner sitting with a dun hat, and you're just like, hello, and then, hello, and it's just like...
Like me and Flux.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, but you're thinking it. I could tell.
I was thinking it.
You're thinking it.
So I finally, the moment that the character finally spoke to me was actually when I met Matt Smith. And the character one day just like, he comes out with Matt's face and voice and is like, my name is Myrta, and that is not how it happened. So then the whole story kind of came flowing. I'm like, really? Really?
Fantastic.
And so it's been pretty cool in the aspect that the Doctor Who fans have been very loyal in following that series as well, and a lot of the Smithyisms you can find in Myrta as well. I purposely did that, but then some people didn't know I had written it for Matt, so I actually had a couple people email me, go, hey, have you heard of Matt Smith? I think he would be really good to play this part. I'm like, nope.
Never thought
of that. Never
heard of him. Matt Who.
That's the dream, yeah. Brilliant. So, what are your thoughts and hopes for the centenary episode?
I would say I probably go with a lot of what other people have said, where we are hoping that there's going to be a resolution and that this isn't going to be a disaster, and that things will be. That Thasmin may have that option, because it just would break my heart to being denied that feeling, even knowing I understand from the doctor's perspective that she cannot get involved. I understand that too, but I just want to see that type of moment. And then just for me personally, I really want Jodie to have that God moment where she gets so angry that blows.
Wow.
And if it doesn't happen, then Big Finish, please give her that God moment.
Yeah,
it sounds like we're heading for something either massively explosive, incredibly upsetting, and possibly life-changing, I think, at the end of it as well. That's
yeah. What I'm hoping kind of what happens is, it was a theory that I had with Capaldi, is I actually had hoped when he regenerated that he was going to split into two, so that you would have Jodie, but then you would have an alternate doctor as well, and that Jodie's doctor had fallen out of time and was in an alternate universe, and then the other doctor would come together, and that's kind of in a way it kind of weirdly happened with the Gwatch.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens when the regeneration comes, because I don't think anyone really knows who's going to be left standing.
We said that on our last podcast, didn't we? That for the first time, really, in the Doctor Who arc, we don't know what's going to happen. We know all we know is that the Doctor's going to regenerate, but we've got absolutely no idea what's going to lead up to that. In every other occasion, we've had some inkling at this stage of what's going to, the little clues as to what might happen, but we got nothing. And I find that really exciting. I really do.
Yeah. I actually, and I knew we were going to learn about Jodie ahead of time, but I really actually didn't even want to know who the next Doctor was. I wanted the regeneration to happen.
Yes, I'd have loved that. If they'd have been able to pull that off, that would have been
complete shocker. Just like no one expected it.
Exactly.
Very, very hard though. Okay, Mackenzie, thanks very much for joining us and being so patient to wait to chat with us. I'd like to go over to Aidan now, because I'm aware he's been sitting there for a while as well. So, Aidan, this is your second time on Who Corner to Corner podcast, isn't it?
It is indeed.
Yes. So, have you got a machine going on in the background?
I'm next to my fridge, so it might be that.
Oh, okay. That's it's gone a bit quiet.
That's
now.
the best place to be, is next to the fridge.
I'm next to my aeroplane.
It's not the washing machine that buggered up the other day.
All right.
It's not that. Don't worry.
So, if anyone doesn't know, Aidan has met Jodie three times, including the weekend just gone, where he had one of the absolute best convention photos I've ever seen.
Do you want to see it?
Yeah.
Do you have it with you, Aidan?
So I'm
of course he
does. I
does.
don't know if it will show, but hang on.
A bit closer.
It's getting there. No, it's too
there.
blown out.
You might want to pull it. Oh.
Basically,
we get the idea. Look at that. Yeah.
Everyone look up Aidan on
upstairs, but I don't want to run upstairs again because I have to run down here to get this to work.
So Aidan and Jodie are doing their best Doctor impression together, and it's an absolutely brilliant
I didn't even know what
picture.
face she was putting until I got the photo back. So that was cool.
So Aidan, tell us a little bit about meeting Jodie now. So you've met her 3 times now. Why don't you tell us about those times?
So the first time was after the filming for Fugitive of the Jadoon at Gloucester Cathedral, and that was a pretty manic day.
So we're in a chat group, Aidan and Paul and I. And Aidan, were you at uni?
College,
and Aidan texted me, he said they're filming Doctor Who down in the town, but I've got to go to a lecture in a bit, and we were all like,
a maths lesson.
That.
It was a maths
Forget the lecture. What are you doing?
We were going, go.
No, that's what I should have done. I should have just fobbed off the lecture and gone down straight away.
Yeah, and you were going, I'm not sure if I should, it's maths, and we were like, there's no question about it. You've got to go, and you did the right thing, and you sacked off maths.
I would have had
Good
a
lad.
study period last, so I just tapped in for that and buggered off.
I like it.
Well, the thing is, that day, I missed it twice, so third time lucky.
Yeah,
that's good.
And I remember you sent us the picture, and we were like, yeah, it was such a.
We were like
such a
England
cool
just won
day.
the World Cup. Everyone was cheering.
Yeah.
Because I knew they were filming the day before, but then I overheard, I think, one of the crew saying, "Oh, she's not here today, but she'll be here tomorrow." So that was fun. I mean,
And
just seeing the Jadoon on the cathedral grounds was surreal.
Yeah.
That was cool.
And then you met her at Comic-Con earlier in February, didn't we?
Yeah.
Didn't you? And we met
both
up
went.
as well for
Right, for the first
we met
time.
up.
That was fun.
Yeah, it was good. We met a few other Twitter friends, didn't we? And it was kind of like, we knew each other, really well.
Yeah.
We've been talking daily for years. And then you met Jodie at the weekend, just gone, didn't you? And
that was
tell us a little bit.
That was very, very nice.
I heard your recording, but why don't you tell everyone a little bit about that?
I basically showed her the 2 previous times that I'd met her. Because I would have done it last time, but I was too scared, I can't lie. And plus, you moved on like that the last time. This time it was so much more better organised, you actually were able to speak to her. So I showed her the photos, and she was, "Oh, that's really cool." I mean, I can't really do her accent. I mean, if you can't hear it, I am a bit unwell. But she's
Aiden's poorly today. Yeah,
I think I've got a touch of flu. She's like, "Oh, that's really cool. That's really cool, mate." And I was just like, "Oh, I died inside." It was very, very surreal.
That's
so,
fabulous.
Aiden, what is it about Jodie's Doctor that you love? Because I know your her initial casting news, your reaction was a little bit different to how you feel now, wasn't it?
I wasn't sure about if I was going to like the Doctor being a woman. I'm glad I do. I'll just put that now. I think it's her enthusiasm which I like the most. Because she's so happy. And all the crap that's going on in the world right now, it's nice to have somebody like Jodie to cheer you up.
And I think it's her Doctor as well as her, isn't it?
Yeah,
we haven't really talked a huge amount about her in herself as well. But yeah, she always comes across as really positive, doesn't she? And the pictures from the conventions, and particularly the ones
she was having a lot of fun.
Yeah,
especially in the duo shoot she was doing with Sasha and Joe.
Yeah, some great pictures
they look
there.
cool.
Yeah,
that was good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And she obviously loves the show, the character, and the fans, and I think that's brilliant. Do you remember when we were at London?
Yeah.
And we were just wandering around, and she came around the corner.
Yeah, she was in the. She surprised the cosplayers, didn't she?
She did, but this is when we just happened to see her. She had a couple of security guys.
We just met up, didn't we? I just walked in.
Yeah.
We walked over. Yeah, I remember now.
Yeah, and you said, "Oh, hi, Jodie," and she said, "Oh, hiya," and you said, "Oh, yeah, are you having a good time?" And stuff. Just that, really brief moment, but she was so enthusiastic and excited about it, and then we were like,
both times she looked like she was having fun. So that
she did. Yeah, it was brilliant. So, what are your hopes for the centenary, or your fears? By which I mean, like, your heart getting broken, not
apart from that,
because it won't be.
Apart from my heart getting broken, I'm happy to see Ace and Tegan return.
Definitely.
I want to see Ace batter a Dalek again.
It's surely.
It's in the trailer, so we've got that to look forward to.
Yeah.
I think the regeneration scene will just break me. I think I think everyone here would agree with that.
Yeah.
We're all going to be broken by the end of that episode.
Yeah.
I think it depends how they do the regeneration as well, because obviously there's rumours that she's going to turn into David Tennant. I don't know how I'd feel about that.
Yeah.
Depends how they did it.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Again, we've got absolutely no idea at all.
Because you can theorise what you think's going to happen. I mean, we've
guaranteed it'll be wrong
for that in the group chat, haven't we?
Yeah. Johnny, I don't suppose you've got anything that you could tell us, have you?
Are you in the centre?
His connection's dropped.
I'm going to be totally honest with you. I mean, I was on set actually filming the thing, and they didn't tell me anything. So I doubt very much they're going to. I mean, one thing I will say is that during the whole time I was doing Flux, there was obviously rumours that Jodie was going to go, and between like 2 of the stints of filming, it was announced that she was leaving.
Oh God!
But she never talked about it on set.
Really?
It never sort of came up.
Yeah.
But I think she was always quite adamant that she wanted to like go out with a bit of a bang. And I don't think she would have let let this finish in any other way than it being the best she could possibly do it. So, yeah, I don't think I haven't got a clue what they're going to do. I don't know how they're going to do it. If she does regenerate into David Tennant, that's going to be interesting, because I know they're doing stuff, but where that fits in with everything else, it's Doctor Who. You don't know, do you?
It'll be interesting to see how they go about doing it.
Yeah. I think everyone's got to have a decent stack of tissues that night, because I think everyone's going to cry a lot.
Yeah, Paul and I got to do a podcast afterwards, so that's going to be.
Have to do that.
I'll be on the line for emotional support, gents.
Yeah, I think you have to be. Yeah, it's
I'll be there.
A miserable one. Yeah.
Johnny, we just watched it.
And I'll be like, "What are you worried about? I saved the universe, not her. Her. Me."
With my special mask.
With my special mask and my floaty belly. But yeah, we got to wait and see. I think it's just going to be whatever it is. There's no way Jodie was ever going to let it go. Just as it'll be something pretty spectacular, I reckon.
It's going to be, brilliant. Aidan, thanks for joining us again. It's always great to have you on.
Thank you very much.
So, Paul, I can see Tony is there. We can't see his picture at the moment, but Tony, are you there?
I'm not sure he is, actually. He was. Okay. But he isn't. Tony has emailed me.
Oh.
So I can read out his email. Actually, Tony says, sorry guys, kept trying to get the system to work, would occasionally blah, 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 blah. So we don't need to read that bit. So
okay. So
he apologises that he couldn't get the electrics just didn't work for him tonight. The technology just wasn't happening. But thanks for trying, Tony. And thanks for your note as well. So I'll read this out. He goes, I would have said something like this. For me, the 13th Doctor is a fabulous mixture of classic Doctor Who energy and New Who purpose. From the 9th Doctor on, there'd been a certain new angst to the Doctor, and who's not up for angsty doctoring? When it's done as well as our first 4 new Doctors did it, huh? But right from the moments of her regeneration and that grin, and that's brilliant. The 13th Doctor just felt like permission to be free and run around being daft, pointing a screwdriver at things like the 8-year-old I was when I first joined the fandom with Tom Baker and Lalla Ward in the TARDIS and Douglas Adams on script editing duties. Jodie Whittaker was a breath of fresh young air, and during the 13th Doctor's era it felt like Doctor Who was a show that was for kids again, first and foremost, and you had to engage with your inner kid to get it. That's a gift and a privilege that the 13th Doctor brought to Sunday nights, the chance to properly be a kid again. And yeah, he's actually written, yeah. So, yeah, she tackled topical issues just like Pertwee and Baker did, but that's what felt like New Who too. She was no avatar for acceptance. I like that. I'm just going to write that one down because that's good, that is. Good for line, a brighter, bolder, more accepting universe, and it was brain-fizzingly exciting to watch. This 13th Doctor was awkward and compassionate and clever and protective and dead good fun. She was the thing the Doctor at their best should always be. She was a person in the universe who children could trust to take their hand and stand between them and the bullies, and she did it with a succession of daft hats, bad jokes, and occasional custard cream. What more could you want in the world from the world's favourite Time Lords? Wow. That's what he wrote.
That was
well
brilliant.
Done. Well done.
Does Tony talk like that, Paul?
I have no idea, mate. It's just
if he
does,
does,
look at it all.
that's
look at all
impressive.
that. Cheers, mate.
Top-notch stuff.
I'm even cheaper than you are, Johnny.
I like that.
So I just like to say, and Paul, you might have something to say as well, but thank you so much, everyone, for joining in with this tonight and getting
welcome.
in touch with us about doing this. It's been absolutely brilliant talking to you. We've
really
had almost 2 hours here talking about stuff we all love, which has been just wonderful, really. I hope you've all enjoyed it as well. If you haven't, don't tell us. But genuinely, thank you for doing this. I know Hugh and Dom and Kelly, you guys are, and Mackenzie, you're in different time zones, and that's incredible. That you've done that to talk with us tonight, and thank you everyone for listening to the podcast and supporting us. It's absolutely incredible. Paul and I still can't believe our luck that people
actually listen to us.
Yeah,
what's that all about?
Well, that's because you're quite good.
Well,
just saying, if you weren't good, we wouldn't all be sat here, would we? Number one.
Well, that's true.
He's got a point.
And number two, you keep producing very good shows repeatedly.
Thank you.
Yourself.
Did you send him the cheque for that?
Yeah, I did. I got that. It's in the post, mate. Yeah.
Thanks, mate. Thanks. You can PayPal me.
Nice one.
Without getting too gushy, you guys are awesome, and everyone who listens and supports us.
Yeah,
is
definitely.
Just absolutely brilliant.
Brilliant. Jeff and Jono, especially for joining us.
For joining us.
No problem.
Mark, Hugh, Mackenzie, Dominic, Matt, Aidan, and Kelly, and everyone else, and Annie, who was on as well. Thank you all. We love you all, and thanks for listening. And we'll see you all again.
See you soon.
Bye for now.
Cheers.